Welcome back, everybody. Oscar Schmidt Tribute Stadium here in Barcelona, the most beautiful floor for SimWorld High School hoops. We are getting ready to roll out our second game of the night. You already saw, or hopefully you're around for a great game between North America and Europe. North America and Edward Fernandez advancing in style. Next up, you've got World West taking on Africa Select, another matchup with a semifinal spot on the line. There you see David Droffen, the big German center, one of the stars for West Select, being introduced. Let me introduce you to your SimWorld broadcast crew. You have my own good self, Elava, joined in the booth by Marsh this evening, and our producer, as always, Roniel, and we'll get Roniel in for a little bit of commentary later, too. And there you see Julian Marks, the other big star on World West, the number 2 ranked international recruit overall, 6'5", 210-pounder out of Guyana, averaging with 15.5 points a game. For Africa, big star for them, Kari Obekpa, 6'5", 230-pounder out of Nigeria. He's averaging 11.3 a game. So is Eji Fabenle, the point guard, also Nigerian, and averaging 10 points for this Africa Select squad. Mosi Njai Diata coming off the bench. I think we got another good game here on our hands, Marsh, and I think people have heard enough from me. Let's get a little pregame selection from you, sir.
Well, as we look at the start, we get the starting lineup introductions. I think this game is going to come down to, is Africa able to hit their threes? World West is a incredibly talented offensive team that starts with Julian Marks, 50% shooter, 15.6 as you mentioned, but the issue for Africa, we saw this in their last game out, they can't hit threes, and so it's all, if they take the approach that they're going to try to take threes, this game's going to be over by halftime. But if they're able to attack the paint, I think we have an opportunity for a competitive 4 quarters.
World West controls the tip. They're in white, and the 3 will not go. Julian Marks not able to connect on that one. He is a 42% three-point shooter. Can certainly hit out there, but as you say, Africa's weakness is definitely outside shooting, but you just saw their strength. Rebounding, getting some easy buckets. That was 7'1" big man out of Ghana, Obi Wokeji. Getting that one back up and in.
Yeah, it'll be a big opportunity here for David Droffen, the World West center out of Germany. If he is unable to contain the boards, Africa has a shot on this one, and we're seeing that early on. But if Droffen is able to keep the paint somewhat clear, I think that this game suddenly becomes much more competitive than World West probably wants it.
Droffen averaging almost 9 points and 9 rebounds a game, but right now it's Africa that's come out hot. Oh, and look at that. Oh, but couldn't get. That was going to be a reverse. That was going to be on a poster alley-oop dunk, but instead, just a missed shot. But World West can't make them pay on the possession. Africa brings it back down the court. Kofi Uzo has it. He gets it down in. Ooh, nice spin from Marks. From Obekpa.
And Obekpa, he might be the most intriguing prospect here, in my opinion, in international, SimWorld international hoops. Really talented basketball player, extremely athletic, but he's very one-dimensional. Doesn't have a three-point shot, but he has a chance because of his physical stature to be able to be a difference maker at the next level within the right system. And so I think he's this high ceiling, but also incredibly low floor basketball player that we just haven't seen a ton of at this level.
At the other end, Santos got a 3 to go for World West, and Lucas Keller gets that rebound. Chance to cut in the lead a little bit more here. Oh, nice dish, but can't get the finish. Good defense and more on display from Africa. But this back to Obekpa for a second. Marsh, foul on the floor, shot up and in. Santos picks it up, but it's going to be a chance for a 3-point play for Obekpa, and this is perfect. I wanted to talk to him for a second more anyway with you, Marsh. We talked about the prospects in college or pro for some of the players in our first game tonight. Obekpa, who was ranked as high as number 7 in the international rankings at one point. He has fallen out now, but still being recruited by LSU and Houston. University of Houston putting together some nice recruiting classes. Do you think he comes to America to play college ball, or do you see a different future for Bakari?
Well, I think Obekpa, we talked about a couple of recruits in the last game that might make more sense for them to stay internationally. I think Obekpa, and I think there's a growing momentum towards that to happen, is that the college route might make more sense for him because of the need for refinement. When you play in Europe, right, where Nocioni is expected to go, Marcelo Nocioni, Obekpa, when you're playing in Europe, you have this expectation very much like you do in the NBA, where we're here to win basketball games. This is not a development league. This is not here to get guys necessarily that much better. This is here to win basketball games. They do not have the fortune of saying, well, let's try to get you to be a better three-point shooter. Let's refine you as a better interior defender if we want to be like a small ball five. That is available at the collegiate level. So I think that while we haven't heard a final decision from Obekpa, I think one probably isn't too far away from everything that I've heard on that. And I would expect that to be a college trip. I think some people had expected Houston to be the runaway favorite. I don't think that's the case. LSU certainly is heavily involved, and I think has plenty of interest. But Obekpa, he's an intriguing prospect that probably for his skill level makes sense to stay in college. Or go to college, rather.
All tied up at 9, and Lucas Keller with 6 points early in the game for World West, averaging 10.6 a game. Guard out of Lausanne, Switzerland. And a turnover gives World West a chance to take the lead.
And that's a turnover from Obekpa, and that's kind of what we're talking about. You know, he's got a lot of skills that you like as he heads the other way. But there are two consecutive possessions with skills that you don't. Turnover when he's trying to be the point guard. He only has half an assist a game. And then just a foolish early shot clock fadeaway jumper that he's just not going to hit.
Step back from Julian Marks, and he does hit that. About Marks at the start of the broadcast, 6'5", 210-pounder out of Georgetown, Guyana. Averaging 15.6 points, shooting 50% from the field and 42 from deep. Julian Marks, the number 2 ranked international. Kind of a contradiction in some ways. He's known, and once he puts the basketball uniform on, as a trash talker on the court, but also a big-time art lover. Not everything you see every day from a 17-year-old kid, but that's Bakari Obekpa. Or Julian Marks, excuse me, going up against Obekpa tonight at the small forward position.
You know, Julian Marks has a chance to really put Guyana on the map. Obviously not literally, but from a basketball sense, figuratively. Not necessarily considered to be a South American basketball hotbed.
No, definitely not.
Certainly, well-deservingly ranked at number 2 and has the profile of a guy that could be very talented at the next level.
Well, Guyana, a relatively small country. Population under 1 million people, but they may have a star on their hands in Julian Marks. To my knowledge, he would be the first Guyanese player ever play in the NBA, were he to make it.
I have to believe that is probably true. But, really, South America, for all of its, athletic history, not an overly dominant outside of a couple years for Brazil, dominant, and Argentina as well, international scene, right? You have a handful of guys that play up to a level, but it seems almost to be generations at a time and not necessarily this generational talent where, the United States, Europe, or some countries in Europe like France and Spain, where it's just year after year churning out high-level talent.
Shot clock winding down now here on the West. A long 3 will not go. Africa's cooled off a little bit after their hot start. Both teams fairly defensive-minded this first quarter. Go ahead, Marsh.
Question: How are we calling World West? World West as we get a nice slam. My goodness.
Wow. Yeah, that was who just drove through there? That was that's Mosi Injai Diata. Yes, yes. 6'8", 17-year-old out of Sudan. World West.
We got guys from the UK, Germany. How are they not Europe? France, Italy?
Well, they could be. World West is a little bit of a kind of catch-all. They're able to pull players in from different spots, but it is all the Western Hemisphere. So we do have Europeans, South Americans, Latin Americans.
My geographical ignorance. How can people in South America and Europe both be in the Western Hemisphere? How's that work?
I think that next year, I've even suggested this, that we may rename this team Team Atlantis or Team Atlantic or something like that, because effectively, from a geographic point of view, if you were playing Trivial Pursuit, how you would identify World West is it is all from countries that are, to some degree, connected to the Atlantic Ocean. Now look, we do have Pyramid Rotor on this team, who is from Finland, which is more Baltic than Atlantic, but that's your kind of loose association there. And then, of course, we also have the World East Select, also out here competing in this SimWorld Global Tournament. That do kind of the same thing for the Eastern Hemisphere. Everything from Russia down to Australia.
I'm going to need some clarification on what's Western and what's Eastern Hemisphere. Northern and Southern I can do that.
I would almost put it this way. Think of World West as World Atlantic. Think of World East as World Pacific. Does that kind of help from a mapping perspective?
That's a little bit better.
A little better. Okay. Well, we're coming up on the end of the first quarter. Tight one between these two teams. Africa has regained a lead. Oh, but not for long. That's a nice drive, and that's Adrien Diop. 6'3" guard out of Antibes in France. He's only shooting 35%, but looks good there. Tied up. Africa shoot. Oh, I was going to say they were going to hold for the last chance, but instead they take a quick shot. I'm not sure why they did that there.
Been a lot of questionable possessions here by Africa in the opening quarter.
These are 16 and 17-year-olds across the board, and particularly for some of these African players, less organized ball in their younger years than you would see for North American or European counterparts, but they are hanging in it through 8 minutes. We're all tied up. Come back. Second quarter up next. All tied up after one quarter. The World West, Lucas Keller, came out playing well, the point guard. And then for Africa, backcourt violation. So once again, Marsh, we have another little bit of sloppy mental error from Africa. Here we see some first half highlights and a nice block from Jay Sala right there, the 6'9", 230-pounder out of Morocco, and there you see him.
Well, I think Africa, what we've seen them where they got out to that early, 9-2, 9-4 lead, they were getting a lot going in transition. They do not have a great stationary, functioning, playmaking offense. And I think that's going to be the difference for them. I mean, they have just Aji Fabenle, hopefully I got that right, 4 assists. He's the only one that's really a playmaker as we get a great dish inside from Mosi. I'm trying my best over here, Eric.
Injai Diata. Mosi Injai Diata.
Injai Diata. There we go. Trying my best. You can't discredit a man for giving it his all. But they don't have...
Marsh, I just see it as a failure of the American educational system that you can't pronounce Sudanese names. It's an indictment of the American educational system, in my opinion.
I'll tell my teachers that when I see them. No, I could go the ignorant American route and pronounce it I-A-D-I-T-A or something like that. So, you know what? At least I have some semblance of an idea that's not correct.
I have an advantage over most people, or certainly at least most Americans, in that I lived in Europe for a couple years, and just by being a soccer fan, you end up how to pronounce a lot of different names from across the globe. Which we're increasingly seeing actually in basketball and the NBA as well, for sure. But, ooh, there's another nice drive. That's 2 buckets coming from George Clark, the Englishman out of Brighton. 6'4", 17-year-old. Gives West a 2-point lead. We got a break on the floor. Africa coach Bayomi Adebayoye wants a timeout. We're going to take a break too. 6:17 in the second when we return. And we're back here in Barcelona. And I want to point out to everybody, love coming here because we love the stadium, love the floor, love the global basketball even. It just takes me back to the 1970s. I feel like I could see Chocolate Thunder or somebody putting that ball in the hoop. Daryl Dawkins for the... Oh, you don't know. I was about to say, for the younger people out in the audience, that is Daryl Dawkins, man who basically invented shattering backboards.
You know, I think that shattering the glass, potential hot take incoming.
Okay.
Not impressive. Not impressive shattering the glass.
Interesting.
I think
Why
that
so?
Now there's some instances where we see, like when Shaq broke the physical stanchion.
Yeah, he brought it down. I remember that.
I feel as if the shattering of the glass. Now, first off.
Ooh, fantastic block there. Talk about some big men doing work. But back to your point, Marsh.
I want to clarify. I don't think I can break a back. So this isn't me saying that I could jump up there with my 5'7" self and break a back. I know that's not happening. So I just want this. This isn't me like thinking I could pull it off. But I feel as if there are a lot of to breaking the backboard is the angle in which you attack the rim. I don't think it's purely this show of force if you do it, but more so if you just hit it at the right angle, you can break them with talent. I mean, again, this is not just a random pedestrian is be like, I'm gonna go break this backboard. There's some semblance of skill, but I think among these elites of elites, I don't think it's as impressive as we want it to be, or at least as strength inducing or strength indicative as we want it to be.
No.
We are bringing in our producer Ron Yell. I know Yells has got something to say on this. Come in here, Yells.
Oh no, I'm just listening to Marsh's hot take on here, and contrary to what you may think I'm gonna do, I'm going to agree. Marsh, more impressive, showing some damn restraint. Back to you guys.
All right. Well, back to the subject of Daryl Dawkins and Chocolate Thunder. Come on to the SimWorld NBA Discord later tonight. I will see. I'm pretty sure I can find on YouTube I will see if I can find Daryl Dawkins shattering the backboard over top of a player named Dave Corzine. Corzine was a 7-foot center that played for DePaul back in the day before he made it to the NBA. It's an impressive physical feat. So we'll put it up there on Discord, let you all judge. This is actually a good time for me to segue to say, if you're watching, but you're not part of the game yet, you're not a coach, you're not into it, come onto our Discord, fill out an application. You could take over one of the U.S. high school teams, you could take over one of these international teams. You could be coaching future stars here, like Julian Marks, about to go to the line. We hope to see you there, and if you come in tonight, for the end of the night, I will put up a chocolate thunder dunk for everybody.
So, E, maybe you can educate me
Yes.
on this. Are the backboards different physically? Like the makeup of the backboard and the hoops different today than they were back then?
So the only thing I know for sure is that I think that it is a generation later in terms of backboard technology, just in terms of like when Shaquille accordioned that backboard, right? Like it wasn't that he broke the glass as much as he just took the entire thing down to the floor. Back in the day, I don't think they would do it that much. I don't think you could bring one down like that. So all of that energy, all of that force would get transferred to the backboard, which would explode in effect. It wasn't that the glass would break. The glass would kind of explode. And it looked good. I will say that.
It does. It looks cool. I just think I've seen way too many times where some guy goes in. This is probably the first three of the game for Africa Falls. And
Actually, I think that was
first
just a two. I think it was just a two, but it was Fabenle who hit an outside shot, and that's very good news for Africa.
But I just feel like I see so many guys like go up with just like a simple one-handed rim grazer, and they just hit it at just the right angle, and the glass shatters, and then they start acting all tough, and it's like, look, you didn't do it. I just can't get on board with it. I can't.
Well, on the subject of guys breaking backboards in Big Bend, what about that move there? I didn't know that Obi Wakaji could do that. That's a 7'1" kid out there, and he did that against David Droffen as well, and Droffen gets his pocket picked. Not having a great night, the big center out of Germany. Does get that rebound there, but so far I'd say Obi Wakaji's been outplaying him in the paint.
Well, Africa's been outplaying, I think, World West in the paint. I think that they've done a great job of staying within themselves. The last game that we called with Africa in Houston against Houston, they took way too many threes. They took so many threes, and they just expectedly so didn't make hardly any of them. I think if that was rule of three, that's their first of the game. If not, we just haven't seen them trying perimeter shots. They've been going inside, they've been trying to take advantage, and have a good mismatch here, although great defensive play.
Yeah, Kaba got his pocket picked, but no, Africa either on 0 or 1 3-point attempts, depending on where you count that one, where World West is, I believe, 1 for 11. They have been really struggling. It's not ruled an over and back, but the shot clock is running out. Keller's been having a good game, has this, but he can't get the three to go.
We talked about it.
Look at the transition. As Benley gets it to go as well. 4-point lead for Africa.
We talked about if Africa stays within themselves from the beginning, and if Africa can play a very ugly, physical game, they've got a shot, and they've done exactly that here against World West.
World West trailing by 4. Two big stars on the West squad, Julian Marks and David Droffen. Particularly Droffen having a quiet night so far, but Africa select behind Wokaji. It's a nice play from Obekpa. And the point guard, AG Fabenle, not only holding their own here with World West, but out to a nice lead. World West coach, Juju Dubois, a Frenchman himself, calls a timeout to talk it over, and they do have the ball here, inbounding.
One thing that we've seen from Africa a little bit here in the second half was right off the bat, we saw a nice pick and roll from Fabenle and Kaba. And that's not something that we saw a ton of in the first half, but that freed up Kaba for a pretty easy look inside. I would expect them or try to see if they go back to that more, and you've just got a huge physical mismatch here.
Big Jay Sala just has way too much size for Lucas Keller and easily scores over him. Africa's lead up to 6 with 2 minutes to play in the first half, and that's the biggest lead of the game for them, for either team. No. I'm sorry, I take that back. West did have a 7-point advantage very early.
Africa had the 7-point.
Nice block there from Africa. They're not able to come up with the ball. The shot clock is once again winding down on the West, and they don't get one up in time.
This has been a really great defensive performance from Africa, to be quite honest. Not something that I would have expected considering the offensive weapons of World West, but this has been a phenomenal defensive performance. Africa is making this game be played at their pace, and they're having a ton of success when it is there.
Now on the floor, and that's going to be on Caligaro. The Argentinian guard picks up his first foul. Just a reach in, so no free throws. Africa looking to stretch this lead. This would be an upset. The World West favored coming into this game. A pull-up. Up and through and pure. That's Mosi Injai-Diata once again hitting a nice shot. A minute to play. Coming up on a minute to play, and it's 8 points for now. World West.
That's great recognition there from Injai-Diata to recognize he had a wide open three, and that's a shot that if you're World West, you say, we want you to take that. You're shooting 25% from deep. Instead, though, a great recognition that he can get 3 steps into the foul line where he's clearly more comfortable as a jump shooter and buries that to push it to an 8-point game. Just great recognition.
Injai-Diata, only 25% from deep, but is shooting 55% from the field overall, so you were right. Great move, great smart play there to move inside and get a makeable bucket, which he buried. Extends Africa to their biggest lead, either team's biggest lead. Under a minute to play now.
I think we're also seeing a huge size.
Stolen again.
Size and athleticism of Africa is showing up tonight. Nobody's smaller than 6'3", and they are going after the smaller guards for World West.
And there is a rejection. Midi Gabinajay got that one, and at the other end, Africa able to convert, and they now have a double-digit lead. I think this crowd here, definitely leaning a little bit World West, is stunned. Oh, and another World West turnover. I'm going to say, all right, if Africa got that to go, you knew it was going to be their night. Instead, a second attempt inside won't go, but they're going to get a third chance. And once again, Injai-Diata, but he can't put it in. Fourth attempt finally goes in with 5.9 remaining on the shot clock. And another turnover is going to end this half for World West. A really solid opening 16 minutes of basketball for Africa. They lead by a dozen. Back after the halftime break, we got second half action coming up from Barcelona here in the Africa out big after the first half, and they've got this lead with defense, Marsh. World West shooting a paltry 29% in that first half. Clearly the size of Africa causing them a lot of problems. 8 turnovers as well in just 16 minutes for World West.
Yeah, they've done a good job in the first half of getting into the paint. And that I think we talked about. They're just not a good three-point shooting team. They win games if they can get into the paint. They've done that tonight, and they've made this a bully ball type of matchup.
Well, there's something you're going to need to see a lot more of if World West is going to get back into this game. David dropping, a little turnaround jumper. Just 2 for 6 now dropping. He did have 7 rebounds in that first half. Oh! Look at that fantastic finish from Aldonce Caba, 6'10" from Mali. Only averaging 7 points a game, but shoots 83%, and highly effective, highly efficient, I guess you could say.
No, another thing that Africa benefits from is they tend to play better when they're going up as Droffin just bullies his way inside. They tend to play better against teams without great guards. And there was just some above-average guard play from Houston in the last time out that really sunk Africa. But here against World West, there's just not an elite guard. I mean, Lucas Keller is okay, but he's not phenomenal at the point guard position. I think we're really seeing Africa getting the benefit of that against World West.
Oh, Giacchetti. It's a long jumper there. John Giacchetti, the Italian. The lead is down to 8. West, I like actually what I've seen here in the opening 2 minutes. They've really been forcing it inside. The offense going through Droffin, who also himself playing strong, playing hard, playing aggressive, really going right at the 7'1" Wokeji, Africa Select, but so far effectively. 6:16 to go third quarter. The lead back down under double digits. You know, World West, and you were talking about this right at the top of the broadcast, Marsh, in terms of Africa's outside shooting problems, but West just 2 for 12 from beyond the arc in that first half. Definitely expected a little bit more outside shooting proficiency from them, particularly Julian Marks, Pierman Roeder, Raphael Santos, Giacchetti, we just saw, splash one from deep. There's some certified shooters on this team, just haven't really shown it that much tonight. And there, Fabenle once again drives, restores the double-digit lead.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's when Africa has struggled, it's been against teams that have good perimeter play, good outside shooting, or teams that play well on the perimeter that given night. So far, as that one rattles out as well, World West has not been a good three-point shooting team despite having some really good shooters on this squad. I mean, for example, we haven't heard anything from Julian Marks here basically outside of the first quarter. That's a huge miss for World West. They need to get the number 2 ranked international recruit much more involved than they have thus far. And that fadeaway jumper is not
doing it, no. Now Droffin, the number 8 international recruit, has come out stronger, and there he gets Fazekas got that rebound. Not Fazekas, excuse me, that was earlier game. Chubby got that
one. We just saw Obekpa's line 2 of 8. That's kind of what we talked about earlier on Obekpa's ceiling and floor. His floor is of an inefficient scorer, in the vein of, the comparisons I've used negatively would be Michael Kidd-Gilchrist. Just inefficient, not great at getting into the paint. The positive end of him is Jimmy Butler-like, really hounding on the defensive side of the ball. Tonight we're seeing the MGK version of him.
Well, although the defense has been there, Marsh, and you've seen Obekpa matched up primarily against Julian Marks for World West, and Marks really struggling, just 1 for 6 now on the night. He averages 15.6 a game, Marks.
That's not to say that Michael Kidd-Gilchrist was just some god-awful basketball player. He wasn't good. He wasn't, there's a reason I assume I can't think of him being on a team right now. He's out of the NBA, but that's the concerning floor. You know,
Yeah.
you could be a defensive stopper, but defensive stoppers get played off the floor in May, June, and July.
Purely in modern basketball, and that is true of MKG as well. Not to be confused with MGK, entirely different person.
Just a little bit.
Oh, nice rebound up and in. I think that was Wakaji again. Oh, it might have been Jay Sala. Sala is out there on the court now. I think that was Sala got that one. Africa really impressing me, playing within themselves. They know what their skill or what their strengths and weaknesses are. They know how to play now. And look at that. Robin tried to go up strong again, rejected.
I think we saw this type of play from Africa. I think we saw late in the Houston game. We saw them get a little bit more inside. They hung around a lot longer than I think anyone expected them to. But we definitely saw them make a push towards this brand of pick and roll basketball, as we just saw with Fabenle. That's gonna be their key. Is we're gonna muck it up. This is not gonna be an 85-84 game. This is gonna be, you know, with this they might hit 65 tonight. Maybe 70 if they're really shooting well, but it's not because they're shooting a ton, it's because they're getting into the paint and making shots that are high percentage.
And they're also playing great defense. Another shot clock expiring tough shot doesn't go down for World West right there. Got a little bit excited there, Hamidi Gabinajay.
Definitely going for the kill shot at this point. If they can bury a 3 or 2, you know, you push this to 18, you push it to 20, you start looking at the nail in the coffin. But I think their kill shot is not a 3. It's a emphatic dunk. It's a second, third chance opportunity.
Trying to get something going here on this possession. Shot clock is winding down. A rare circumstance for Africa tonight. Jumper won't go. West can draw back to 10 here. Difficult catch in transition there, but somehow or another, Adrian Diop able to come up with it, and then he loses the ball. Benley pulls it away. 11 turnovers in the game now for World West. Season high for them. We're under 2 minutes in the third quarter. This third quarter's gone by quickly, and Africa just maintaining in control. Another easy bucket.
That's a great take there from Chima Ndoye. He does a phenomenal job getting to his spot, but also great ball handling to get inside. Looked like the lane was cut off, and he still was able to slither on through.
Another timeout called by World West, Juju Dubois. Dubois definitely doing his best to try to get his team to wake up and get back in this. Dubois himself, I mentioned earlier, he's a Frenchman, as is Adrian Diop on this World West team, but Dubois actually played for Treviso Basket in the Italian Pro League himself before he got into coaching, so I'm sure as a player he's been in this situation before where you've got a gut punch and you don't have much time and you've got to get back out there and either bring it or go back home. See what he can get out of this World West squad tonight, but impressive, particularly on the defensive end from Africa tonight. A 14-point lead with this little scoring feels like 30. A nice pass and a nice finish there. Beautiful pass, Adrian Diop. Averaging 2.2 assists a game. Tied for second on World West. Ooh, look at that! Uzo found Fabenle, top of the key. Africa has just drained a 3. Fabenle only shooting 21% from deep this season. But I guess it's going to be that kind of a night.
I mean, that is where when Africa wants to hit 1 or 2 of those, that's when it gets dangerous, because they do just such a great job of staying within themselves that when they start hitting them, even if it's just a couple, thank goodness it can be shocking.
Points are coming at such a premium because look at that last possession by Africa. Once again, and a beautiful finish from Obekpa. 15-6 run. There you see it up on your screen. They have dominated this third quarter. Extended a nice halftime lead. Another jumper won't go, Cagliaro. And look, he just missed that one. World West has just missed some open shots tonight, but time and time again, they're taking desperation, contested looks. The shot clock winding out here, whereas look at that. Fabenle, another mid-level shot, but had a wide open look at it and buried it.
I'll save my comment till the fourth, or we get a foul here. I think when we say they're missing wide open shots, we do a disservice to the defense that's been there. Because it's not that you're missing wide open shots, it's that you're forcing the opposing team to rush your shot. And that's why the shot is missing. It's not just because, by saying that, it cops out the offense, saying, you just missed your shots. But it doesn't give credit to the defense for being swarming, for being aggressive, and making a player feel as if they are not open even when they are, and forcing them to rush the shot.
And I think Africa, give credit to Coach Abayomi Adebayoye. He's done a great job, and obviously his players have really responded out there as well. Through three quarters, holding West under 40 points. Should be a final shot opportunity coming here for Africa. Jay Sala bringing it up. Interesting choice. He's going to try a three. Won't get it to go. But Africa's done a lot right here, and they are 8 minutes away from advancing to the Global Tournament semifinals on Thursday back here in Barcelona.
Radio.
Africa having a fantastic night. You saw that nice lay-in on the replay by Kaba coming back from the break there. But World West, Coach Dubois' side, they do have the ball, trailing by 17. They need a miracle. Miracles sometimes happen. And that'll help Raphael Santos. It's a bucket to go down. There you can see World West shooting a little bit better than they went into the halftime break. We're shooting just 29% for the first two quarters. Brought that up to 35 now, but...
Brought it up like that's a great feat.
At least it didn't get worse. But Africa, Kaba once again. Okay, talking about shooting percentages. Kaba came into this game shooting 82%, and I think he's nudged that up a little bit over the course of this game.
Incredible. Again, 7 points is 4 games we already talked about. It's impossible, are these small sample, but 82 over a 4-game stretch is still my.
Oh! Yeah. And there, the dunk from Jay Salah, the 6'9" Moroccan from Tangier. Everybody's getting it done tonight. The shine for almost everybody on this Africa Select roster. Rebound ripped away. Kaba gets that one. Speed remains 17, but the problem is the clock keeps on running for World West. Oh, and look at that block. Another swat.
We talked about
Africa team.
We talked about how massive Africa is.
Another. Oh, finally, Santos drains an outside shot, but Africa giving them nothing inside. I mean, just that great wall. Kaba, Salah, Wilkeji, all ranging 6'9" to 7'1". Oh, Jay Salah.
Oh, I mean, they're just
there.
I don't know what you're going to do when Jay Salah comes in. He averages 3 points a game and he's got 8 on you. You're not winning. And to be honest, this was a game that I kind of expected to be potential blowout in the opposite direction.
The other way. Yeah, I know.
It has been obviously the complete different direction. This has been incredible coaching job for Africa to get their team to play at the rate and the play style they want to be at and that they need to be at to win basketball games. I think that has to be the biggest, outside of the great defensive play. This has been maybe one of the best coaching jobs we've seen this season.
Well, assuming that Africa does hold on to win here, it's 2 upsets on SimWorld TV tonight. North America defeating Europe and advancing to play on Thursday, and here Africa looking set to triumph over World West, stay alive in this global tournament as well. You know who I want to bring in for a minute? I always like to get our producer Ron Yell in here, and I think this is a good time. Ron Yell, Europe, I think, was the overall favorite to win the global tournament to begin with, not just win over North America, but to win the whole thing. Who's the favorite now, assuming that we do have our 4 teams and that Africa's going to hold on here? Who's your favorite, at least?
Yeah, I think that's an easy question. I think I'm going with Team Africa. I think everyone knows I really love defense. Defense wins championships. We're seeing it in the playoffs, except for in the Luka Doncic arena. But we're seeing it in the playoffs. We see it year after year. We're seeing it in the in this tournament and in this game. Team Africa, this smothering defense in the high school game, unless they play, North America and Edgar Fernandez gets really hot, or a team just really gets hot from the outside. When you're forced to change an easy bucket on the interior to a long-range shot from guys that don't shoot consistently at the high school level, that's where the challenge is, and they're forcing these guys to bypass easy buckets on the interior. That's what I'm seeing. I'm going Team Africa. That was my long-winded answer, E.
All right. Well, hey, I like the call. I'm a big fan of this Africa Select squad. That said, they have a big delta, maybe a way to put it. Like, and look, Marsh was talking about this, the difference between their floor and, some individual players like Obekba, and I think it kind of applies to Africa as a team as well, where we've seen them be impressive tonight. We've seen this Africa team knock off Mid-Atlantic and Jamison Johnson. Don't forget that. They beat them 69-60, kind of using the same script they've effectively done tonight. And another dunk hanging around the rim. Aldonse Kaba. But at the same time, we also saw them recently play Houston and just get run off the floor by the Houston Stars. So definitely a team with a lot of potential. It's kind of one of those crazy cardiac kids bunch where you feel like there's no game that they can't lose, that they can't win, but there's also no game that they couldn't conspire to lose.
It's high school kids, though, Lava. If they're playing controlled within themselves, as Marsha said, they're not forcing jumpers. We're getting a chance to see them defensively and get out on the break and transition. They're playing to their strengths. And in that game against Houston, we saw them force up a lot of shots that I don't think the coach was very happy with. So consistency is key.
Well, another advantage for Africa This is a very senior team. Prep level, there's only one 16-year-old on the team, and that's the starting point guard for Benley, and we've seen some of the good work he's put in tonight, but everybody else, 17 years old.
Yeah, they're doing such a great job of just actively contesting every single shot. They've shut off World West's valve for perimeter shooting, and they've instead just forced them to go inside, that's where Africa is at most decent. And I just can't get that to finish.
But a second attempt, that won't go either. 2 missed shots there for Njai Diata. A rare bad sequence for Africa on the night. And at the other end, Grafen able to get the rebound and put it back up in. David Grafen, 6'10", out of Essen, Germany. Being recruited by both Gonzaga and UCLA. We'll see what he decides to do. Go pro in a Euro League or otherwise. One thing it looks like he won't be doing is playing on Thursday here in Barcelona. Africa's still up by 14, and we're under 3 minutes to go now. That is a rare bad offensive sequence for Africa. I will say over the past couple minutes, Africa's gotten a little bit sloppy. And in turn, and there's 2 more, allowing West to crawl a little bit back into this. It's probably too little too late, down 12, 2:30 remaining. But it is a smart timeout there. Coach Adebayoye, Africa, going to talk it over. Wants to remind these young men what is at stake here. Hold on for another 2.5 minutes and got a game to play for a championship on Thursday.
I mean, the sad part for some of this from the World West standpoint is very well could be the last time we see a lot of these guys. You know, Lucas Keller you'll probably see again. Julian Marks, I imagine. Same thing with David Droffin. You know, that you'll see them in some type of way, shape, or form. But this will be certainly the last time we see a handful of these guys. Same thing to be true of Europe before them. You know, we'll see Nocioni, but the other pieces, it's Buffini, for example. You know, with Europe, very well could be the last appearance that they make in SimWorld hoops. This, you know, high school, collegiate, or at the professional level.
Yeah, a good example of that being Raphael Santos for World West, the starting shooting guard, averaging 8 points a game. Shoots a high percentage from field and from 3, but not much of a night tonight, and it is probably his final appearance on SimWorld TV. Ronnie, let's get you back in here. Who are we looking at on Thursday night? What are our semifinal matchups? Give the folks a little bit of a preview of what we got coming.
Well, if Africa holds on here in the last 2 minutes, we get...
Let's assume they will.
Africa Select taking on North America Select, which I don't believe anybody saw that coming. But that could be a very explosive game. On the other side of the tournament bracket, we have South America Select. After beating Middle East Select earlier, and they'll be taking on World East Select. So that is your semifinal.
Interesting. All right, I'm not making predictions, but I will say that an Africa versus South America final would be intriguing because you have two kind of similar teams. South America has some really skilled bigs. They're surprisingly tall. They're surprisingly athletic. They're a tough out. And as we've seen tonight, Africa on their game, that would be an interesting matchup. I'd be intrigued to see the outcome of that. Hey, there's Raphael Santos just talking about him, and a splash of 3.
I would argue the North America, South America, the continental rivalry for an international championship would have a lot of intrigue and excitement. To me, that might not be the game that I root to see. I think from a storyline standpoint, that would be the one I would be most excited to see.
Well, as they've done again and again, particularly here in this second half, Africa players coming off curls, coming off screens, and getting to the hoop relatively unmolested. That time it was Obekba's turn, and another swat on the defensive end.
Obekba, even in a bad offensive performance, the break 3, you can feel his defensive impact. in this game. I mean, he's the frontline defender. He's the first line of defense, and then he kind of just fades in behind there with Wakeji, Salah, Kaba. All three of them have just been incredible deterrents inside.
Well, even with that miraculous 3 from Keller going in on the last possession, West still can't bring this down under double digits, and I think Coach Dubois has resigned himself to defeat at this point. Turnover there, under a minute. West isn't fouling. Africa is going to advance to the semifinals. A 3 on the way from Africa, and that won't go, but look at that.
An acrobatic finish, though.
And none other than Aldonse Kaba out of Kita, Mali. 6'10", 215-pounder. He's had a night tonight.
What a progression of this game, where we started talking about how Julian Marks could make the difference, and then promptly never mentioned or saw him the rest of the night. I mean, that I know it sounds comical, but we didn't. We didn't. Marks did the typical Andrew Wiggins. I didn't know he was on the court for the last 10 minutes.
Yeah. Well, final
Andrew
seconds
Wiggins in
now.
Minnesota, I want to say, not in Golden State.
Not the current edition, yes. Final seconds now. Keller tries a circus shot. Won't go. And I'm kind of happy that didn't go, because 59 points just sounds more accurate for what we saw out here tonight, Marsh, than 61. That would give somebody the wrong impression. Held West to under 60. Impressive performance, and congratulations to Africa. The captain, Bakari Obekpa, and friends play in North America now on Thursday for a spot in the Global Tournament Championship. Thanks for being with us, everybody, and hope you'll be back on Thursday. We're kicking it off again at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. Damn it.